Welcome to In Our Neighborhoods. In this episode, we speak with two neighborhood reps about their first year and how they face the challenges of it. We also chatted with Chad Eastwood, a new resident who hit the ground running since moving in. But our first story is about the Newcomers Welcoming Group. Here's Georgia Lash reporting.
Barbara, the September edition of Sensations had a great story about the Newcomers Welcoming Group. Congratulations on 20 years of service to Sun City.
Thank you, Georgia, and I want to thank you for having us come and to explain again what the Newcomers Group does for our community here in Sun City.
Well, it says a lot that the two founding members of your group are still on the active roster. How many of you have joined them, and how long have most of you been doing this?
The Newcomers started 20 years ago with about 6 women from our community, and Pat and Anna Mae were 2 of them. They have remained with us, and we are now moved from our 6 people to about 30. And those 30 people have done the same kind of activity as we did in the beginning, but as our community expands, our needs have expanded, so our membership has expanded as well.
What's your favorite part of welcoming our new residents?
My favorite part would absolutely be helping that new resident acclimate to our community. If you stop and think when you first moved here how important it was to find out where the stores are, to register your car and such. But also I have the responsibility and the pleasure of working with some great volunteers. To become friends and know 30 women who are willing to give to our community like this has certainly been a pleasure. And of course, my last most important part is the appreciation we have by our new residents when we walk in and help them with getting acclimated to our community, and then they feel more comfortable being here in the Low Country.
Now, explain the scope of your responsibilities to our new residents.
We actually have 4 responsibilities. The first is with resident services, receiving the names of the new residents and putting them into our database. And then we set up packets and deliver those to the newcomers' home. And after that is the coffee that we had prior to COVID, which we can talk about. But also the last piece is that we submit the names and the information for the Sensations each month, so that those residents are recognized as new residents in our community.
You know, you're visiting the new residents, but that group of information that you all put together is extensive. Who's responsible for coordinating all of that?
We have one super volunteer, and her name is Mae Schoenhaupt, and she has gone around to all the different communities. She goes to Beaufort, to Savannah, to Hilton Head, both Beaufort and Jasper County, picks up pamphlets and information, develops those packets, and has them ready for the volunteers when they go out to greet our new residents.
So that's a lot of responsibility. Now, you referenced the COVID-19 guidelines. How has that affected your plans?
The biggest thing that has happened is we were all person to person, and at this point we have been moved to using the telephone and emails to talk to people. So now, rather than going to their house, we drop off a packet at their front door and then follow up with a phone call that allows us to answer questions and greet them properly. And as I mentioned, the coffees we had would be in volunteers' home for 10 to 20 people, and with the COVID problems, we have canceled that for this time, though we do look forward to doing it when we can do it again.
Now, you must hear some common questions from our new neighbors that are moving in. What are some of the things you get asked?
The first is probably how to register a car. What's different in the Low Country? Many of our residents are coming from other states, so they talk about the weather, where's the local beach, shopping, where do you get your hair cut, all the things that new residents would have to have in order to feel comfortable here in Sun City. And they're things we have experienced ourselves, so we can answer.
Now, again, with all those new people you're meeting, have you come up with some common reasons why people have moved to Sun City?
The main reason people move to Sun City is for our amenities. If you look at other communities and want to be in the south, Sun City Hilton Head has it all. They also want to be near the beaches and look at our weather. They look at the location, that we are near hospitals, we're near airports, we're near beaches, and accumulatively, those are the things that they want to know about.
Now, if I'm a brand new resident, how do I get on your welcoming group list?
First, most residents agree to have us contact them when they register at resident services. But you also, if you look in the phone book, the very front page is our little card that we call it, and you can register, put that in at Palmetto Commons, and they will get it to us, so the process goes on.
Now, are you accepting new volunteers? And if so, how can they join?
At this point, we're really on hold because of COVID. And once COVID issues resolve, we will be having some orientation of new interest people and let them come and see what it is. We have people who want to be greeters, people who want to host coffees, and the involvement will be there when we can open it up again.
Well, thank you for getting that Southern hospitality started for all those new people that have joined us here in Sun City.
Thank you, Georgia, and congratulations, Barbara. I had the opportunity to do the interview for our next story. Let's listen in. Meet Chad. Chad Eastwood is one of the newest residents in the Mariners Cove neighborhood. Chad likes cars and puzzles, crossword, word search, and logic puzzles. Chad also likes getting involved and has joined the social committee along with his wife Doreen, and already has planned a road rally in November for the neighborhood. Chad is very busy. Well, thank you, Chad, for speaking with ION today. I'd like to ask you a few questions. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, let's start. Well, please tell me a little bit about yourself and where do you hail from?
Well, I actually have split my years across 3 different states. I grew up in New York on Long Island. When I was in my 20s, I relocated to New Hampshire for about 20 years, just a wonderful state to live in. And then I relocated from there to Massachusetts, where I spent my last 15 years before coming to Sun City. As far as myself, I had a very rewarding career in manufacturing management, where we built equipment for probably every industry that you can think of. And for people that actually know me for a long time, I think they would say that I'm pretty high energy, enthusiastic, very positive attituded, and just an upbeat sort of person.
That's wonderful. Now tell me, how long have you been retired and what brought you to Sun City?
So the retirement is actually recent. I just retired at the end of January of this year, and Doreen and I relocated beginning of March. So as far as being in Sun City, you have to blame that on my wife, Doreen. She is absolutely an amazing person when it comes to researching and navigating the internet. So we knew that we wanted to relocate to warmer weather, like a lot of the northerners do want. And she researched and found lots of places, and we visited many communities. We knew we wanted to be in an adult community. And when we came to Sun City, it was just looking no further. We find this to be just an amazing place. It's met every expectation, actually surpassed expectations. Tons of clubs, tons of activities. Magnolia Hall with its theater productions and movies, just absolutely amazing. You know, my good friend Vinny here in Mariners Cove actually summed it up exactly right for me. He told me that if you see a police officer in Sun City, "You'd better run like hell." And I asked him why he said that, and he says, because in his belief, he thinks it's absolutely illegal to have this much fun. And I got to tell you, that stuck with me, and I completely agree with him. So we've been involved in lots of activities here, everything from just playing table tennis and billiards. I've had a couple of singing sessions even with a local neighborhood live band right here in Mariners Cove called Island Harmony, and that was a lot of fun, things I've never done before. And it just goes on and on. So having a great time.
It sounds like you are. And I noticed that you're wearing a car club shirt. We'll talk about that a little later. But have you joined any other organizations, any other clubs?
So, yes, I am in the Sun City Car Club, as you said. We'll talk about that briefly. My wife and I are involved in the social committee. I've actually joined the theater group. I've joined the chorus. And I even have an application in for the leadership committee at the board level. So, it's one of those things that I find is when you come to Sun City, you just want to get involved in everything. It gets to the point that you just are time limited. But if you're bored here, it's your own fault.
We hear that a lot. Now, Chad, you know Sun City TV is a huge club car fan. No, not club car club. That's a club car. Yeah.
Take two.
Take two. Take two. Now, Chad, you know that Sun City TV is a huge car club fan. And can you tell us a little bit about this beauty right here?
Well, this is a 2017 Corvette Stingray. It's my fourth Corvette. I've had a 1977, an 81, 2003, which is a 50th anniversary car. And this is my newest in Torch Red. I think the most fun I've had with this car was on my way to picking it up because the expectations are so high. But it's just a blast to drive. I just love every minute of it.
Now, it's a 2017. That you still need to get a 2020?
So the 2020 is a mid-engine Corvette. Boy, wouldn't I love to have one of those. The funny thing with the new Corvette is there are so many people interested in those. As far as I understand, General Motors has orders for 40,000 of them, and they've only made 2,700 to date. So I think there's going to be quite a wait.
Do you have a name for this orange car?
Actually, I do not. It's just my favorite Challenger. You know, to go way back, I've been passionate about cars since I was just a little kid. I drove my parents crazy when I was probably 7, 8 years old. We were out, I was in the back seat, and whenever we were driving somewhere, I'd point out a 59 Plymouth Fury or a 61, Chevy Impala. I just knew every one, and I've just loved them. I've probably owned over 24 American muscle cars, everything from Cooters, Challengers, Chargers, Roadrunners, Camaros, Corvettes, Mustangs. But the Challenger is actually my favorite car. And when Doreen and I saw this one in orange, there was no more looking. We just had to have it. Me especially, of course.
We are now joined by Chad's wife, Doreen. Welcome, Doreen.
Thank you, JoJo. It's a pleasure to have you here today.
Can you tell us about your involvement with the social committee, please?
Oh, I've enjoyed the social committee so much. I've made new friends, and I helped to get Mariners Cove neighborhood have a fun place to live. Recently, we did a fall wreath project with a group of ladies, and it was wonderful. They had a good time, and it came out really good. So, and I hope to get involved in more activities in the future, as some of the holiday events, and of course the road rally.
Tell us about the road rally, both of you.
Go ahead, Jack.
So as part of the social committee activities, I'm just trying to do my part as Doreen is. A lot of people are staying inside, and before I get to the road rally, I'll just discuss maybe a little bit about these puzzles that we do as well. So every other week, we create either a crossword puzzle, a word search, or a logic type puzzle, and we distribute it through the neighborhood. They have mostly Sun City or Mariners Cove themes to them. And we're just trying to challenge people's minds a little bit and just keep people active indoors for a couple of hours a week if we can. So that's one of the things we're doing. As far as the road rally, we have that scheduled for November. And the way the road rally works is on golf carts mainly, we're going to have a driver and a navigator on each cart. And before the race starts, they're going to be handed a packet that's going to be a structured set of tasks that they have to go through to navigate through Sun City. It's going to be about an 8-mile course that they're going to be taking. We've taken about 8 or 9 photos of obscure items that they have to find along the way, so it's going to be a combination scavenger hunt as well. And we've even interjected some challenging questions that need to be answered, so you have to look for clues and answer those questions as well. So the road rally should be a lot of fun, and we hope to have that end up at Somerset Lake for a barbecue or a picnic of some sort, for more socializing and more fun again.
I sat down with 2 newly appointed neighborhood reps recently to hear how their first year has turned out. Let's check it out. We're here with John Meeker of Village Green and Laura Henderson of Alexander Village to ask them a few questions about being brand new and ours. Let's start with you, Laura. How long have you been in your neighborhood and where was home?
Well, I'm originally from Indiana, go Purdue. We moved here after 15 years in Columbus, Ohio. We rented in a wonderful neighborhood, Bill Hill, for 6 months just to make sure it was right, and bought our home in Alexander Village in February of 2013.
And how about you, John?
Well, we purchased our home in September of 2017 after our one and only visit here. And I came from Washington Depot in Connecticut in a house that we lived in for 46 years.
John, what made you consider South Carolina and Sun City in particular?
My wife and I had finished our careers in the summer of 2017. We spent time in Tennessee staying at Del Webb's. We spent time in North Carolina, Del Webb's. And then we came down here, and there is no Del Webb in the area that compares to this, and we fell in love with it immediately because of the amenities and the people and the house that we found, and we bought it on the spot.
South Carolina?
Well, we spent several vacations traveling and looking at many communities, and we found a Robeson community that's just like this one, which kind of excited us about the possibility of retirement. My husband had come here several times on golf trips, so we decided to explore the area. And we originally came to look at Moss Creek because they had an equestrian center, and in that process we discovered wonderful Sun City and Bluffton and made the jump.
Laura, I know you are involved in a lot of activities outside of the gate. Why don't you tell us about that?
My primary outside activity is equestrian based. I have a 31-year-old American Saddlebred and a 9-year-old American Saddlebred who live in Rincon, Georgia now. It's about a 30-minute drive, and I belong to a group called Salty Saddle Sisters, and I've met a lot of people outside the gate, so to speak, wonderful women who do a lot of volunteer work, and there are a lot of horse lovers in Sun City who are involved with Heroes on Horseback.
And John, what activities do you do inside and or out?
Okay, outside I'm a member of the Low Country Retired Law Enforcement Club. That is not limited to just Sun City people, obviously. I was a trooper in Connecticut for 20 years, so that entitles me to participate in that club. Inside, I'm with a computer club. I'm with the New England Club, pardon me, one of the political clubs, the Romeo Club, Staying Connected, La Dolce Vita, and Eat Smart, Live Longer. Those two really don't go together.
What drew you to run for NR, John?
We were on a cruise, and at that last summer, and no one had volunteered, and we heard the spiel that you're no longer a neighborhood if you don't have an NR. So my wife and I talked it over, and we decided that we would talk to the current NR, or at that time the current NR, and we would throw our hat in, but only at the last minute, because we didn't want to preclude somebody else from doing so. And fortunately or unfortunately, nobody else did, so we did it. More so to keep the neighborhood together and going.
And how about you, Laura?
Well, sadly, in February of 2018, our neighborhood rep, Frank Ginhart, suddenly passed away. Luckily, our alternate rep, Kathleen Morrison, was ultimately prepared to take the reins, and she recruited me at a cocktail party. And I took over as the alternative rep for a brief period of time until the next election. And again, nobody else ran. So I ran unopposed with my friend Debbie Buck, who is our alternate rep.
Now, Laura, when did your 2-year term start, and what new changes did you implement the way things were done before?
Well, it started just in time for the RFID, the new CAM cards, a pandemic. So we've had a brief moment in time from May of, I think, 2018 to 2019 to start up any social activities, which were quashed very shortly after that. Great social committee. I haven't really implemented any changes. I have a really powerful, strong, effective social committee, and they've done a stellar job on keeping the ball rolling. We've tweaked some things a little bit, but not very much.
And John, how about you? The same question.
Same question. I was preparing after the election because we had a good congealed community, but we were very new, so there wasn't a big structure. I started in January 1st of 2020, and we created a neighborhood executive committee. We began much greater use of the Village Green website. We initiated a Village Green newsletter, which was extremely popular. We began to have speakers of interest at our only 2 meetings before the virus. We solicited to have a core group of people to be able to disseminate information to all the other neighbors. We send out monthly financial statements to all residents because they need to know where their money's going.
Okay. John, how has it been for your neighborhood during this current situation?
That we faced was finding something that everyone could participate in, because some people just don't want to leave their house. Other people are taking greater risks, either positive or negative, and so that was difficult. But some of the things that we did to get people out was we had an ice cream parade where 2 of our golf carts were loaded with ice cream cones and so on and so forth.
Great idea.
And we sent I advertised it, got everybody out at the end of their driveway, and one late afternoon on a Saturday we went around with golf carts and handed out ice cream. That was one thing.
I'm stealing that.
And then another time I thought, people are behind their doors. They're doing something. What are they doing? And so I sent out a flyer and asked that everybody that produced something, made something, repaired something, put it out on the sidewalk at a given hour on a Saturday morning, and we could stroll the neighborhood. We had jewelry makers, we had stained glass, we had woodworkers, we had a lady that reupholstered a piece of furniture and an ottoman. We had a fellow who even was willing to demonstrate his new elevator that he put in his garage for lifting items into the attic. The downfall was that it was an awful hot day, and by noon everybody was back indoors, but it really seemed to have gone over very well. Doing games, we had one lady doing a drop and roll demonstration across the road.
And Laura, what are you foreseeing for the future of your neighborhood? Something different.
Well, wouldn't that be nice? And I don't want to jinx this because we're almost out of hurricane season, so that's the last thing we have to get through. But we hope to be the scariest, most decorated Halloween community in Sun City. Yes, that is a challenge.
I don't think so.
Yes, I think so. So that is our next target, is to have some fun at Halloween.
So we're going to come and film it?
Come, and you'll have to drive around counterclockwise and not leave your cart, but yes, you are welcome to come and film it.
Yes. And how about you, John?
Well, we just had the change of command of the social committee chair yesterday. We have 2 co-chairs, and they are just brimming with ideas. I think you'll have to follow us to find out, but Halloween is on the rise. I think we have music bingo next month, and a number of other activities.
I would like to thank you both for speaking with me today, and really enjoyed your answers. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching this episode of ION. We hope you enjoyed the show. We look forward to highlighting your neighborhood in the upcoming episodes. All you need to do is email us at sctvhh@gmail.com at least 2 weeks in advance of your event, so we can give you the coverage you deserve. And stay tuned to SCTV for more episodes of In Our Neighborhoods.